In this video I'm gonna show you how you can turn any vector SVG logo or icon to 3D animated object with a Claude simulation. Honestly, it's pretty easy and I'm gonna show you how you can make this just in a couple minutes. So the first thing that you need is a vector file, preferably in the SVG format. For this I have this website svgrepo.com, but you can of course use any website you want. And I want to animate a YouTube icon, so I'm gonna search for YouTube. And I'm gonna use this vector right here. Make sure that you are downloading the icon as SVG. Now open Blender and let's delete everything from the scene. Now let's go to File, Import, and now we are going to import the icon as SVG file. So let's find the file and let's click on Import. And before we actually run the simulation, there are a couple things that we need to do before. So first let's go to the Object Data Properties. And let's open the geometry section, and because we need to add a thickness to the curve, we need to extrude it, and you can do this by using the extrude slider. So let's add some thickness here. I want to make the corners a little bit round, so let's go to the bevel settings and let's increase the depth just a little bit to make the corners smooth. So now the logo looks like this, and in order to run a simulation we need to convert this curve into mesh. So let's go to Object and let's convert the curve into the mesh. Now after converting, you can see that the topology is really bad and we basically cannot use this for the simulation, because if we want to simulate a close simulation on this object, we need a square topology and we also need a lot of subdivisions. This object has neither of these things, so we need to remesh the object first. So let's go back to the object mode. Let's go to modifiers and let's add a remesh modifier. And because we are using a smooth geometry, I'm gonna switch the mode to smooth and I'm gonna increase the depth to 7. You can also check smooth shading to smooth out the surface normals. So now we have evenly dense quad topology, which means that now we can finally run the simulation on this object. So let's go to the physics properties and let's add Claude simulation. Now I can manually go all over these settings, but the easier method is that you can choose from one of these presets that are available by default with Blender. So for this I'm gonna choose a rubber, and before I run the simulation, I'm just going to change a couple of settings. First select the vertex mass to 0.5, then go to stiffness settings and let's change the tension to 40. Now scroll down and enable pressure and set the pressure to 20. Now in the collision settings I'm gonna change the quality to 5. Then in the shape settings I'm gonna set the shrinking factor to 0.02. And lastly I'm gonna disable the gravity, so let's bring the gravity all the way down to 0. We are done with the physics settings. Now we just need to apply the scale, and I'm gonna also bring the origin to the center of the mesh. And now we can go to the cache settings. We can set the animation range, so I'm gonna set the simulation to 100 frames. And let's bake the simulation. So now when you have the simulation baked, you can either apply the simulation on a certain frame, you can bake it, or you can just leave it like this. And now we will add some materials. So let's go to shading. First of all, let's go to cycles. Let's enable GPU as a render device. And now let's create a new material. So I'm gonna make it a fully metallic. I'm gonna set the roughness to something like 0.03. And for the color I'm gonna use multiple colors combined with the layer weight, which will be driven by Fresnel, so we can make that color variation on the edges. So let's add layer weight, let's preview the Fresnel. Now let's add the color ramp, let's switch the interpolation to ease, and let's just bring the black and white closer together. Let's add another color ramp, but this time we will add the colors that we would like to have on the material. So because red color is basically linked with the YouTube branding, I'm gonna use red as well. So let's choose red. And for the second color I'm gonna choose blue. Again, let's change the interpolation to ease. And now let's connect the color to the base color of the principled BSDF. And if we preview the material, you can see that now we have this metallic red material. And if you want to make the secondary color more visible on the edges, you can either use the first color ramp, or you can also play with this blend button. So now let's add a camera and let's find some good angle. I like it here, so I'm gonna place the camera here. Let's also make some additional lighting. So I'm gonna add some area lights as a backlight, just to create that highlight on the edges. And I'm gonna duplicate it, and I'm gonna place one light right here. And that is basically all from me. I hope you took some value from this video. If you did, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also check out my shade card library, which is a library of 87 procedural materials for Blender. This means that you can create infinite variations, control any property of the material, and even make the material animated. Besides materials, you can also find a lot of effects, so if you are interested, it's the first link in the description. Thank you for watching, and I'm gonna see you in the next video. See ya.